You don't remember the exact moment you fell in love with snooker. Maybe it was the way the balls clicked together with that sharp, satisfying sound. Maybe it was the way the green cloth glowed under the dim lights of the club, like a secret world only a few people got to enter. Or maybe it was just the silence, broken only by the cue striking, the balls rolling, and your own heartbeat racing inside your chest. You weren't like the others in your class. They went to the basketball courts or cricket grounds. You slipped into that little snooker hall hidden behind the cafes. While your classmates ran drills in gym, you sat hunched over a table, too big for your small frame, dreaming of century breaks and applause. You told yourself it wasn't just a game, it was a calling. Every shot you made, no matter how clumsy, felt like a step towards something bigger, something special. But deep down, you didn't know the price yet. You didn't know how much this love affair with the game would cost you. The snooker hall became your second home. The air smelled of smoke and sweat. The felt on the tables carried stains from years of battles. And the regulars, men twice your age, looked at you like you didn't belong. But you didn't care. You leaned on your cue like it was a sword. You stayed for hours, watching, mimicking, learning. Every time the white ball rolled exactly where you wanted, you felt a rush no video game, no school trophy could ever give. Of course, your parents didn't get it. Why waste time in that dingy place, they asked. Focus on your studies, play cricket, football, something normal. But you weren't normal. You wanted the hush of the hall, the weight of the cue in your hand, the pressure of sinking the last black when all eyes were on you. You didn't realize it then, but while you thought you were building a dream, you were also building a wall between you and the rest of the world. Slowly, the club regulars noticed you. At first, they laughed when you missed easy pots. Then, they began offering tips. Soon, you weren't just the kid sneaking in. You were part of the scene. There was always one guy, though, older, smarter, quicker. He became your shadow, your rival. Every time you thought you had improved, he was still a step ahead. And that rivalry pushed you harder than any coach could. Your school friends still called you for birthdays, movies, late-night hangs. Sometimes you went, but most of the time, you found yourself drifting back to the snooker hall instead. You told yourself it didn't matter. This was sacrifice. This was discipline. They would cheer for you one day when you were on TV, playing in front of bright lights, commentators whispering your name. But as you stared down at the green cloth, you didn't notice the loneliness slowly chalking its own lines across your life. People think snooker is glamorous. Tuxedos, bright arenas, fame, trophies. But they don't see the grind. Hours of practice in half-lit rooms. The ache in your back from bending over the table again and again. The blisters forming between your fingers from gripping the cue. The endless drills. Line up the colors, pot them one by one, miss once, start again. You trained until your vision blurred, until the balls doubled in front of your eyes. There were no coaches, no sponsors, no cheering fans. Just you, your cue, and silence. And while others laughed, dated, lived, you chalked your tip and convinced yourself this was the only path worth walking. But every time you missed an easy shot, the weight crushed you. Because in snooker, one mistake erases everything, and sometimes so does life. You thought hard work would guarantee success, It didn't. Tournaments weren't about skill alone. They were about money. Entry fees you couldn't always afford. Travel costs that burned through your pockets. Tables that played differently from the ones you practiced on. And then there was the pressure. In practice, you were a king. In tournaments, your hands shook. Your heart pounded so loud you could barely hear yourself think. One bad frame, and it was over. You began to notice something painful. Talent wasn't enough. Passion wasn't enough. Sometimes, even your best wasn't enough. The dream started to blur at the edges. And for the first time, you wondered, maybe everyone else was right. Maybe this game was just a dead end. By now, you had lost most of your friends. Your phone stayed quiet on weekends. Relationships? Forget it. Who would date someone who spent all their free time in smoke-filled halls, chasing a dream no one respected? You told yourself you didn't need anyone. But at night, walking home after another long practice, you felt it, that hollow ache in your chest. The game that once gave you joy now demanded everything. Your time, your youth, your sanity. And the worst part? Nobody clapped when you sank the black at 2 a.m. in an empty hall. Nobody cared. You had chained yourself to the table, and sometimes you wondered if you were just sinking along with every missed shot. Obsession turned into exhaustion. You stopped improving. No matter how much you practiced, the results were the same. Mistakes multiplied. Confidence crumbled. The love you once had for the game felt like poison now. The table wasn't a sanctuary, it was a prison. You started skipping practice, then hating yourself for skipping. You tried to quit, then found yourself back at the hall anyway, cue in hand, trapped in a cycle you couldn't break. It wasn't fun anymore. It was survival. The truth hit you one quiet evening. You weren't going pro. You weren't becoming a champion. You weren't even close. You had given years of your life, sacrificed friendships, burned through opportunities, and for what? A handful of local tournament wins no one remembered, a reputation in a hall that smelled of dust and regret. You realized snooker had taken more than it gave. And the worst part? You had let it. Looking back, it all feels like a cruel trick. Snooker seduces you with its beauty, the smooth roll of the balls, the silence, the elegance. It whispers promises of glory, respect, a life beyond the ordinary. But in reality, it isolates you. It eats your time, your money, your youth. It demands perfection, but offers no guarantees. It builds your ego in practice and shatters it in competition. And when you finally step away, you're left with chalk-stained fingers, a tired body, and a haunting question: was it worth it? The truth is, you don't hate the game. You still play sometimes, on quiet nights, when life slows down. But it's no longer your world, no longer the thing that defines you. It's just a game now. And maybe that's the real lesson. Because when a game takes more than it gives, that's why it sucks to be a snooker player.